We've mentioned Floyd a couple of times. Obviously, your brother has got a fight scheduled with him. I'm hearing rumors that it could be in the near future. How does that whole situation make you feel? Because that is crazy too.
Well, look, at first I sort of was like, whoa, are you serious? And I wanted to talk shit about it. I think I was jealous maybe of Logan getting a massive fight. And my first initial reaction was like, this shouldn't happen. And then I sort of realized, like, no, this is monumental, and no matter what, Logan wins. Mm-hmm. No matter what, the outcome of the fight doesn't matter. Logan wins in that situation, no matter what. And I think it took me a second to realize that and realize where he was coming from in taking that fight. And it just goes to show the power of the platform that we've both created. And this is the future of fights. The future of fights is giving something to the people that they actually want to watch and talk about. Me and my friends were sitting there talking about Floyd versus Logan for 30 minutes. And I literally was like, guys, like, time out. This is exactly why this is so interesting. We just talked about this shit for 30 minutes. If the people are talking about you, that means they're interested, that means they're invested, and that means they'll watch the fight. And so all kudos to him, and obviously if he knocks Floyd out, he's gonna be God. So
I mean, you're right though, like even when we do previews on my channel, like, you know, when we talk about you or Logan fighting someone, the numbers don't lie. You know, we do, you know, quote unquote real fight previews that don't do half the views. So there's a reason why people are watching. If they want to shit on it, they can talk shit whatever they want, but they care enough to click on it. That's for damn sure. And I think it's great that you admit that you were a bit jealous of Logan, and you got to be a big man to just admit when you felt that way. And it's only normal. I mean, it is a great thing, but I guess for me, the way I see it is like, when Logan went through what he went through, and with his situation, you both got tarred with the same brush. So I think you also win together. You know, like when one of you climbs a mountain, it's like you both did. Really, it sort of doesn't matter.
No, 100%, and it's really interesting because, and I sort of just realized this like the other day. I was like, Logan is my only competitor. Like, Logan is really the only person who I can look towards as competition. There's nobody else, and that's why I think our relationship has always been this sort of weird dial of figuring out what it is, because we love each other so much and we're best friends, but we're the only other people to look to for competition, because we're the only ones really innovating like this. We're the only ones who are thinking so outside the box. We're the only ones who work as hard as we do. No one in this industry, or I don't even know what this industry is anymore, because I think we've created our own box, but no one works as hard as us. No one is as dedicated as us. And people can say that's cocky or whatever, but I really don't give a fuck about what people are saying. I'm talking to you, True Jordy, like as a friend right now. I could give a shit if anyone else is listening. Like, honestly, I've come to the conclusion that Logan is my only competitor, and so it's this weird thing where I look to him as inspiration. I look to him as a competitor, as a brother, and as a best friend. So it's a super cool thing that I sort of had an epiphany on the other day. And I think it's helped me earn a lot more respect for him and a lot more love for him.
Question: if you had been born an only child and it was just you and Logan didn't exist, would you have achieved what you've achieved without him?
100%. 100%. I think that goes both ways. You know, I think we continue to shock each other and continue to expand off of each other, and we're yin and yang, quite literally. We've both gotten to the same place in life on very different paths, and at the end of the day, we're from the same parents. And so I think it's a testament to our parents of like how we were raised and our mental capacity and how we think about life. And just our ability to show up every single day for the past 7 years. But honestly, I wouldn't want to do this without my brother. I think it's so cool that we're doing this together. And again, if you look back to everything, we started a YouTube channel called Zoosh together when I was like 10 and he was 12. And this is how it all started: is Logan and Jake. It's never been one or the other, and people like to compare us, and that's natural, and people like to say, you know, who's better, who's this, and that just adds, again, fuel to the fire, and people are talking about us, and you know, let them talk, let them think what they want.
A question about the boxing ability of you two, because obviously that is often compared, and I know Ben brought that up to sort of try and rile you in the press conference. Obviously, you feel like you're a better boxer than your brother, which I think, you know, right now in the eyes of a lot of people, you are the best YouTube boxer because of what you've been able to do in the ring. But I was wondering, in terms of your makeup, you know, you guys know each other so well. What is it about you as a person that you think enables you to be better in the ring than your brother?
I think in my life, I have a lot of, like, growing up, I had a lot of pain and a lot of emotion and a lot of built up anger, almost, in a weird way. And maybe even like resentment towards my parents, or I don't know what it is, but there was always this like really big like edge to me, and I think that's where sort of the problem child nickname comes from, is me lashing out and me being this like, I don't even know how to describe it, but I think I carry that with me into the ring. And I think at the end of the day, all of that emotion creates a fire in my belly, maybe that Logan doesn't necessarily have.
That makes a lot of sense, by the way, because I've spoken to boxing coaches before, and they've said like that insecurity that a lot of fighters have, like the reason Floyd Mayweather spends as much fucking money as he does is because he is insecure, and that chip on the shoulder that people like yourself have, that drives them. I don't know. I'm searching for reasons here, like with you, but with Logan, he does seem a lot of more of a, maybe a happy-go-lucky kind of everyone's friend kind of guy, and with you having that edge, maybe that is the reason.
I also do think, though, losing to KSI changed him, and I think he sort of learned a lot from that experience. And so I think maybe once we see him in the ring again, we might see a more animalistic version of Logan Paul.
Are you expecting him to be more aggressive in this next fight?
I hope so, and yes, like he needs to do that, and I think he knows that, and I think he regrets not taking more risks in the KSI fight. And I see that because I think he was afraid to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And when you fight with fear, like imagine Logan Paul like flat on the canvas like Nate Robinson, like it's hard to come back from that. And when you fight with fear, it's not good. You can't do that. It's bad. It's almost like you're manifesting something bad to happen.
Yeah, it did feel when I watched it as if Logan was the more maybe skillful boxer in there, or at least on the night he was able to display his skills more than KSI was. But KSI was the more fearless, and I think that played into the result. I was watching some of his footage training the other day, and yeah, I noticed some little things like him. I don't know why I'm talking about this to you, but you know, I noticed him dropping his hand after he jabs and stuff like that. And you know, are you looking at some of his footage and helping him out with some technical stuff, or do you just stay out of that?
No, I stay out of that. I don't think he wants to hear any notes from me, really. And we're coached differently, right? There's a million ways to box, and every boxer is different, and we're coached differently. So he probably is sitting there with Milton, looking at me and my coaches and being like, "Oh, these guys are idiots," So everyone has their opinions on how people should box, and I sort of stay out of that.
Did the Mayweather fight, when you say you were a bit jealous at the time, was that part of the reason why you thought he's got one of the biggest fighters ever in terms of notoriety? I'm going to go after the current main eventer, Conor McGregor. Was that part of the reason why you went after him?
No, I went after Conor the moments after my fight, if you recall, before Floyd even confirmed his fight with Logan. And I think Floyd confirmed that fight with Logan after he saw how big of the event, that had happened with Mike Tyson and the knockout, and how big of a potential it had. I think it was all this, there wasn't one reason as to why that fight was confirmed, but I sort of went after McGregor in the moments after my Nate Robinson fight, and I've been saying it for a year and a half now that I want that fight, and it just makes a ton of sense.
I know it's difficult to say it because obviously you love your brother and there's loyalty there, but how do you see this Floyd-Logan fight going?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not gonna sit here and be like a yes man to my brother, just like I would want him to tell me the truth on if I was doing something wrong or if I was gonna make a mistake. I don't. There's no path, in my opinion, to Logan winning the fight. Do I think he will perform better than anyone expects? Yes. Do I think it will be a fight? Yes. Do I think he comes out on top? No. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Floyd's gone up against the best in the world 50 times, and everyone had that chance to throw that one big punch that was going to knock him out, and 50 people couldn't land it. So why now? And
it's a bit like you and Ben, though. The questions will make people excited or interested in one way or another, because Floyd has never had knockout power. He is certainly not a big man, and he's getting old. And Logan, I wonder if Logan had showed more punching power, if it would be more, excitement for it. I think that's the problem, is because Logan was a bit gun shy against JJ. Nobody's expecting him to come out swinging, and like you say, maybe he's learned those lessons, and he will leave everything in there this time,
and hopefully so, and hopefully he can be the one. It just, by the science of boxing, it's just hard. It's just hard, and Floyd is so fast and shifty, and he's a defensive boxer, so it's going to be very difficult for Logan to beat him. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just not saying that it most likely will happen.